Hey there, folks. I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince. Welcome to Mustang Prince War Reports. Well, it's that time of year again, Mother's Day. Now, if you may recall last year, I took a look at Pixar's Brave, and today, it's still a good Pixar film to me. However, I can't say the same for the film I'm going to be blogging today, for numerous reasons. You're not going to believe which studio made it. ImageMovers Digital. Anyway, for those who don't know, ImageMovers Digital was a motion capture studio owned by Robert Zemeckis. He and his crew had made such great films, like The Polar Express, along with Monster House, Beowulf, and of course, A Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey. Now, I enjoyed each of those films, but a while ago, I did hear that the studio had been going a bit rocky after 2009, and was quickly losing partnership with Disney. The agreement was that the studio would fold after one more project was completed. And the result after that, not only did it become one of the biggest bombs in cinema history, but it also led to the cancellation of a remake of the Beatles' Yellow Submarine. So, with all that said, might as well get started. Released on March 11th, 2011, the movie is Mars Needs Moms. Okay. On Mars, the female babies are nursed by robots, while the male babies are dumped in the junkyard, under the command of the supervisor. They research Earth and find that the boy, named Milo, is raised by his mother with love and discipline. The Martians come to Earth to abduct her in order to use her brain to instruct the robots about how to raise children. However, Milo sneaks into the spaceship and comes to Mars. He meets Gribble, a young man who behaves like a child, and together with the hippie Martian Key and Gribble's friend Wingnut and Two-Cat, they try to rescue Mom and bring her back to Earth, but Supervisor will give her best efforts to stop Milo and his friends. And that's basically the whole plot.
So, what are your thoughts on this film?
Well, to be honest, I have mixed feelings for it.
Come again?
In other words, there are some things I like about it, and there are parts I don't like about it.
Okay, proceed.
Thank you. Now let's move on to Mustang notes. Simon Wells, the director of such films like An American Tale 2, Balto, and The Prince of Egypt, had known Robert Zemeckis since the mid-1980s, when he was a supervising animator and storyboard artist for Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He also worked with Zemeckis on Back to the Future Part 2 and 3, and later worked on The Polar Express, which was why he was attracted into making Mars Needs Moms. The production designer was Doug Chiang, and the supervising art director was Norm Newberry. The title of the film is a twist on the title of American International Pictures' 1966 film, Mars Needs Women, which I find strangely weird. I've also been told from certain other people who looked at this film that the original book this film is based on is too short to be made into a movie. Pretty similar to The Cat in the Hat with Mike Myers, but pretty much I find this better than Mars Needs Moms anyway. Now, out of all the films that Simon Wells or ImageMovers have made, this is my least favorite. I mean, the science fiction action was alright, but there was not much charm. And the jokes, like most comedies these days, didn't get me any laughs. For example, There's 80s and 60s pop culture references mentioned at times, and there's also urinating, and there are so many camera angles focused on aliens' butts, which gets me a bit uncomfortable. But on the positive side, the visuals on Mars look fantastic. It's almost what you get if you threw Tron and Star Wars into a blender. And John Powell's score he composed for this is just so thrilling. Also, I love Queen's crazy little thing called Love during the end credits. As for the animation, well, I do think the technology of motion capture is interesting and cool. The way they did it here, well, it's hit and miss to me. I mean, some folks have been telling me that the characters in this film don't look or move realistically, and their eyes look dead and soulless. And the more I watch this film, I start to see that they're right about that. Plus, the story itself is weirdly written. But there was one part of the film that almost broke my heart and made me feel teary-eyed. And even though the folks at ImageMovers tried, the results were more eye candy over good story and characters. So I gotta say that the real problem is the film itself, not Disney. Now it's time to move on to the cast of this film. Now, the main character Milo was motion captured by Seth Green, whom I know from Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. After spending 6 weeks outfitted in a special sensor-equipped performance capture suit while simultaneously performing Milo's lines, it was pretty interesting that Green could embody a 9-year-old, kind of similar to my role as Jasper Oakley, one of Annie Oakley's younger siblings, in Annie Get Your Gun at Musical Theater Village. But unfortunately, Seth Green's voice sounded too mature for the character, and was dubbed over by 11-year-old actor Seth Robert Dusky. Now, that kind of sounds similar to something Doug Jones went through. I mean, if you viewers have seen my Pan's Labyrinth blog, you'll know what I'm talking about. As for what I thought of the kid, well, he starts out like a brat, refusing to do his chores, helping his mom with stuff, and even arguing with her, and not even eating his vegetables. That kind of sounds like something a few kids that age would act. Heck, even I was like that when I was young. However, as the film goes on, Milo does improve while he's on Mars looking for a way to rescue his mom, with the help of his new friends. Now, this wouldn't be a Mother's Day blog if I didn't talk about Milo's mother, played by Joan Cusack, who is in films like Looney Tunes Back in Action, the 2 Toy Story sequels, Chicken Little, and Hoodwink 2. Now, in this film, she has a short but important role in this. I mean, mostly throughout this film, she's in a sleeping state, but she is how most moms are in these days, caring for their child while teaching them the rights and wrongs. However, in this, she does have a disciplined and strict personality while also loving her son. And that's basically all I have to say, because I don't want to spoil too much about her. Next we come to one of my favorite characters, Gribble, aka George Ribble, played by Dan Fogler. This guy was stranded on Mars ever since the 1980s. Now, the reason why I love this guy, despite some parts of him being a little annoying, well, for one thing, his lair, which was in the garbage heap underneath Mars, looks breathtaking, and he has a couple friends, like a spider bot named Two Cat, and a tribe of male Martians led by Wingnut. Anyway, back to Gribble. He's also a lot of fun and makes a great best friend character. Plus, his backstory and how he got to Mars and what happened to his mom broke my heart. My second favorite character is Key, the female Martian sidekick played by Elizabeth Harnois, whom I know from the Adventures in Wonderland TV show. And she's a hippie. Now, recently I've been studying about those guys in my history of rock and roll class last year during my college age, but at the same time I've been hearing that hippies have been getting some dislike. But I'm not one of those hippie haters. I actually think they are cool and relatable people next to, well, colored folk. But be glad Key isn't as bad as, well, these two. Anyway, the things Key does in this film, other than helping Milo and Gribble rescue his mother, she sprays flower graffiti on the walls, she's rebellious against the Martians' government, plus she learned English by watching 60s television, kind of similar to Madison from Splash. And for a Martian, she's actually kind of cute in my opinion. What? However, the most messed up thing with her is when she and Gribble fall in love. I don't know if that's worse or better than a teenage girl with no personality falling for a vampire. Maybe both. But in my opinion, the absolute worst character is the villain of the film, the supervisor, played by Mindy Sterling, whom I remember from the Austin Powers trilogy. The reason why I hate this character is for many reasons. She kidnaps Earth mothers to transfer their momness into robots using a machine that uses the sun's energy, which results into killing the mom. She doesn't know anything about love, and she only cares about order and discipline. She even hates Key's flower graffiti. She apparently knew that the Martians were once lived and raised by... They did raise children of their own, like humans did, but lied to the other Martians, making them believe that they were always raised by robots and that the boys must be thrown away. Now, if you guys have seen my Swan Princess Royal Family Tale blog, you know that I did say that she had a similar personality to the Scullion leader, Mangler. Now it's time to move on to my final words. Overall, Mars Needs Moms is not a great film. It's just okay to watch once in a while. The story is weird. The main character goes from bad to improved. The side characters are fun in my opinion. The villain is intolerable. And the motion capture is hit and miss. And I feel bad that this film caused Mr. Zemeckis to close down ImageMovers Digital for good. But, on the positive side, at least the Adventures of Tintin did better than this. So I'd have to give this film a score of 49% out of 100.
I must say, Mustang, that I'm impressed with your response to this film, despite a few positivity.
Sure thing. But you know, you may have been giving me trouble several times on my show, Anti-Josh. So next time we meet, I'm going to give you a piece of my mind this summer.
Well, I'll see what you'll have in store soon. Ciao.
Well, folks, that's it for now. Be sure to tune in next time, which hopefully will be a better film to blog. Mustang power. Oh, and have a nice Mother's Day, everybody.